So here we are at the top of the hour and people are still coming in. So let me welcome officially everybody to the very first SpeakerTunity Summits, SpeakerTunity sessions, to the very first SpeakerTunity session, where we will be bringing to you great leaders in the transformational space who are here to help you evolve and grow, to speak to more people, to give your message in a wider way, and be more prosperous when you're doing it. And so this is brought to you by SpeakerTunity. SpeakerTunity is the organization that brings you SpeakerTunity, the Speaker Leads tip sheets, SpeakerTunity Radio Insider, and SpeakerTunity Summits. All of these are direct contacts so that you can get out into the world and give your message in more places and have more impact. And so in the first of our guest presenters is today the inimitable Tonya Hofmann, who will be telling you about branding yourself, putting your personality into your presentations, your social media, your website, for massive results. And let me tell you, this lady's beautiful personality is on display in all the wonderful work that she does in the world. She is the CEO and founder of the Public Speakers Association. She's a globally sought after speaker. You might have heard some of the places she was talking when we were just chatting a few moments. She's host of her fabulous TV show, mark that word, fabulous. That's a very special word for her. She's a best-selling author of 7 books, the winner of 4 major awards, such as the eWomen Network Conference Business Matchmaker of the Year and Global Mentorship Award for the Evolutionary Business Council. And she's been on the cover of 5 magazines. And I think that's just the start. So I welcome you today, and I invite you to join in this wonderful opportunity to avail ourselves of the gifts and the wisdom of Tonya Hofmann. Tonya, take it away, girl.
Thank you, Jackie. You know, this is what it's all about, is getting connected to amazing people like Jackie and collaborating. You know, it's kind of a little bit about what we're talking about today, because when we're talking about branding, you really have to look at everything you do really is branding, from not only what you say and how you say it, but the actions that you take as well. So you have to look at who do you surround yourself by, and then when you do collaborate with people, are you collaborating with the right people? Because I see a lot of times people say yes to an opportunity because the person has a big name or whatever, but they don't really resonate really well. So it is about, everything you do is about branding and branding you as your own personality. So we're going to talk a little bit about how does that all play out, and then how do you develop that so that your presentations equal your website, equal your social media, equal, you know, interviews, whatever it is, it all coalesces together. Okay. So first thing you have to do is look at what is your rules. Now, a lot of people are like, what rules? You should have at least 1 up to about 3 core value rules that are unbreakable. If you broke them yourself, you know, you'd be like, what? You can't imagine it, right? Definitely the people that you surround yourself by, the clients you bring on, and then the personality that you push out should equal those core values. So for example, I've got 2 core values, and I'm very serious about both of them because I do kick people out because of them, all right? One of them is you got to be nice. No mean, grumpy, negative people ever allowed. And people are always surprised when, you know, I come to them and I'm give them a call and I'm like, you know, Susie, more than one person has said that you haven't been real nice. Now, Susie's first reaction usually is, what? I'm one of the nicest people I know. because a lot of times we don't really see what other people see. And then we have a conversation. Usually Susie changes her tune and she's fabulous after that, because a lot of times we don't even realize it. And then there's those core value people that really is not part of their core value. And those people I just simply say goodbye to, good luck, and here's another organization you should join, you know. So I send them over to somebody else, you know. The other core value rule of mine is no perfect people, please. Now, you might think that that's another weird kind of rule, but I started realizing that when I surround myself with people who expect me to be perfect and expect themselves to be perfect, nothing moves, because in the reality of things, the things that move fast, the more you do things quickly, the more things that happen. So if you're always stuck on making sure everything is right and you can't let anything go out until you make sure, then usually it slows the whole process down. And I just don't play that way. Plus, you know, with a speech impediment and other issues, I'm like, you know, things come out, things that are said, things written down, whatever. It happens. So when either of those rules are violated, that's an immediate no to that person. Now, you have to really follow your rules. So you have to look at when someone does something and it really irritates you, do you do something about it? Or you just like let it, you know, roll off your back and you're like, oh, well, what can I do about it? So find those 1, 2, and I've got like a third, like a subcategory rule, which is no elitism, because, you know, it's kind of an issue for me. So I really listen to my gut when I talk to people, and the first conversations that I have are, do they fit into my core value rules? When I push out information, when I put things out on my websites, when I do anything, even from stage, I usually tell people my core value rules, because it's about filtering. So this is something that I want you to get really comfortable with, is the idea of filtration. I want you to get rid of the idea of target market. I know some of y'all are going to be reeling after this point. You're like, what? I finally figured out who my target market is. And yes, it has some value, so okay, you can keep it a little bit. But if your core value is above the target market, really what you're doing is filtering in the right people that will filter out the rest. So let's take, for example, say for the Public Speakers Association. So I have on my website my core rules. You have to be nice, you can't be perfect. I have even a speaker's game that people walk through. The first 2 questions is, are you nice? Are you imperfect? Right? And both of the questions, if they say no, bye, right? When I do that, it helps me create the right community. Kind of a backstory. I used to own multiple business networking organizations throughout Texas. And when I first started, I just let everybody come in. You know, I had like 80 people in the group, and it was like huge, and people were like, wow. But they were such the wrong people. And this is what I just had this great conversation with a lady yesterday, and she does the same thing. She's like, how did I get around so many grumpy, negative, and broke people I've ever seen? I'm like, I know, right? Because when you don't state the real who you're looking for, not woman from 35 to 65 that's a entrepreneur. I mean, that allows anybody to come in, really. Instead of saying you have to be nice and you can't be perfect, that actually gives you a certain personality that draws to you or goes away. If someone's like, well, that's stupid rules, they don't need to be a part of my community. So once I started placing, and that's what I started realizing, is once I placed that rule in 2007, so the first one was you have to be a nice rule, it did something really amazing to my community. Not only did it filter out the people that I'm like, oh my gosh, do I have to see that person again? but then it really honed in on the perfect people to collaborate with. Because if someone's going to send you a referral, then they're probably going to be resonating with the person they're sending the referral from, right? So if the person is a friend of theirs, those people probably have the same type of people. So if you accept a referral from someone who's incredibly negative, that person who's coming to you is probably negative, and then that person's people are probably negative, or at least comfortable in that realm. So you have to look at what kind of community are you really building. Same thing from stage, from a virtual event, right? I have a teleconference every single month that I do with the Public Speaker Association. It's a constant virtual summit, right? If you're going to be on that, how are you making sure the people who gravitate to you and go to your website and follow you on social media are the right people? Now, I know that most of you don't use 2 buttons enough. 1 button, the block button, and the other button, the delete button. The best 2 buttons ever made. Okay, so when you start really looking at who you are talking to, say you were in front of 100 people, okay, teleconference, in person, whatever. 25 people, right? So 25%, they don't like you. I know, right? I'm like, what's there not to like? It always freaked me out when I first started speaking and stuff, and I was like, somebody doesn't like me? What does that mean? What is that? How is that even possible? Because then you're like, I got to fix this. I got to change this. How do I make this better? Or how do I change myself to make them happy? Oh my gosh, because then we're not focused on the top 25%. The top 25% who already love you, that already get you, who already are ready to be part of your community, that are your perfect person to collaborate with, to be a client, or just hang out with, right? So the more you understand that bottom 25% who doesn't like you, and by the way, you don't like them either, so let them go, right? You just say goodbye. You never look at who opts out of your email list. There's no reason. If you do, say, yay, bye people. It's great when they filter themselves. Focus on that top 25%. And the 50% that's left, they're just trying to decide. Do they want to be in the bottom? They want to be in the top. And it's great when they finally make that decision, right? They're either coming into your world or leaving. And so I want you to get really used to this and realize that it's just about, there's something about people that connect well. And that's really what you're looking for. You're connecting with your audience better. And it's even more important to have conversation with the person putting on the event. You know, if you're on a radio show, have a conversation with the host. If you're on something like this, have a conversation. If you're going to go speak at a big conference, have a conversation. Because if you're already not really connecting well, find out if I always ask the person putting on an event, so is most of the people like you that comes to the event? I really want to know that answer, right? And then the best thing that you can really do is look at the room. I love it when I start speaking and people get up to leave. I know most of you are going, oh my gosh, I know, but that even is better. I'm already filtering those people out. That's why at the very beginning, I tell people right away, right? I tell them right away my rules. Hey, if you're not nice in here and you're expecting me to be perfect, or you're, perfect yourself, bye. And I try to get them to leave the room. That way, I'm really focused on the people that get me and that do want to be nice and imperfect, right? So it's really important to filter that really quickly. Now, same thing with social media, your website. You have to filter those people because, again, you want to build the right community from the get-go. If you create a Facebook group, put it in there, the rules. What's your rules, right? One of my clients, she's like, I want one of my rules to be that you have to be open. You have to be kind of ready for new ideas. And I'm like, great, because there's a lot of people who aren't. So really look at what is important to you, and then don't break your own rules, right? If I suddenly was like, on social media, people are like, what happened, right? And we all have those days, but you have to have your own, you got to believe in your own rules for yourself, right? If I suddenly were like, oh, I can't believe this person wasn't perfect and didn't send me their stuff, like, blah, 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 right? And I got all huffy about it, I would be breaking my own rule. What, am I going to kick myself out? Well, that would be, counterproductive. So really believe in what you say, not just for others, but for yourself too. That's when you know it's a real rule. Now, when you're putting your personality in and you're filtering, you do have to look at social media. If you see someone say something and you just ignore it and you're like, it just like hits you that you're like, oh my God, I can't believe they posted that, and you didn't do anything about it, you're actually accepting that in the universe, right? You're telling, everyone that that's okay, that that person could be a part of your community. And it's really easy to let that person go. So don't feel like you have to, just because someone comes and is following you, that you have to keep them. It's even better when you let that person go. When you're driving traffic to your website, same thing. What is it that your core values are? Because a lot of times you don't even realize what you're saying on your website. Like my husband and I have been doing websites forever. And so the pictures that you use also have to go along with your core beliefs. So visualize if you go to somebody's website and they're talking about being happy and positive, and then you immediately see pictures of people crying and people upset, frustrated, and they could be even talking about, get rid of overwhelm and frustration and blah, 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 right? So the pictures do go along with what they're saying, but it's visual. It's an immediate reaction when you go to that website. So instead, reroute what you want people to be versus what they come there being, right? So the same thing, same pictures on social media. For me, I can't suddenly be like super negative and have all these negative pictures, right? Mine's are all fun. If you're a speaker, and I've seen a million people's speaker websites, right, because they all love sending them to me. I'm sure Jackie too. And I go to their website, and I don't even see a picture of them. What, are you hiding? You don't like what you look like? Well, I guess I'm not going to like what you look like if you're going to hide who you are. So you have to really be clear that what you do really shows your personality. So let's tweak it up a little bit more. There was a moment that I went from being good to where I am today. Okay, speaking all over the world and having fun and, meeting incredible people. And that was the moment, and it's weird to say, but I'm going to say it anyways, I stopped caring. And meaning, stopped caring what people thought of me. That's when you know you went over and you're like, good, you're good to go, is when you stop caring what people think. And I just relaxed, my shoulders dropped, and I was Tonya. And I remember it because suddenly I got all these phone calls. It was like one of the craziest moments of my life, because usually I would do like a webinar and people are like, yay, okay. And then that one was like, people were like, hey, can I hire you? Hey, can I get on that? What can I do? Can I get them this? And I was like, oh my gosh, what happened? And then a lady said it. She goes, you were brilliant today. Where have you been hiding yourself? I'm like, good note to myself, right? And so tweak who you are. Whatever your personality is, let it shine. One of my clients, he has no personality. Literally, he talks the whole time without blinking, without saying. His voice is very normal. It's very constant. There is no difference. There is nothing. He doesn't have no expression. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. And every time he'd come on to a webinar or my TV show, I'm like, how does he do that? And so when he hired me, I actually helped him be the no personality guy, which was perfect for his target market, which was the geek world. Okay? So he started doing these, radio shows and stuff about, comic books and things like that. It was like perfect. And man, his personality, or lack of, really resonated with a lot of people. Did it not resonate with people? Absolutely. But it was already doing that, right? But when he really owned it, poof, it was like amazing. So what is your personality? What are you holding back? I see people all the time on stage, and they sound just like the person who just got off stage, right? How are you showing people who you are? And I really want you to really own your, let's call it unique. I really like calling it odd or weird. What's your weird about you, right? And really owning it. I always thought, I have kind of a weird sense of humor. And so I say things on stage to people like, oh, I can't believe she just said that. I'm like, I know, it's so funny, because it's just who I am, and it's what I think is funny. And the people who don't think it is, great, right? You're doing a great job when you can get somebody to not like you in the audience. If everyone's like, oh yeah, she was pretty good, then you did not hit chords. You've got to really own that part of you that makes some people go, ooh, and other people go, ah, right? That's what you want. When you start getting hate mail, now you're really cooking. And I know the first time you get it, you're going to be like, I can't believe they said that, right? After a while, you're like, oh, well, it's obviously their issue. And you just realize that they're not your target market. They're not the people you want in your community. So it makes it easy just to delete the email. You don't even have to respond anymore. A lot of times I just say, thanks. They write a big email that's like pages and pages and pages, and I'm like, thanks. It gets the point across, right? So what is your personality? And then how can you tweak it up? How can you really own it? My friend Candy, she's a amateur boxer, right? And she started really owning that power play that she has. Of course, a lot of women and men don't like that. Great, right? You really got to look at what is it about you, and then use all the images. What do you really love? Use those images. Right? I love birds, so I use a lot of bird images when I get a chance. And then don't be afraid of this, right? No matter what you look like, it does not matter, because it's going to resonate with someone. I always love showing people, and I love showing people how I used to be an introvert. And ladies, this was me in 2005. Look at that hair. At the Leander Chamber of Commerce Holiday Gala. Yes, that's what I wore to a gala. This was Tonya as an introvert. And I love showing that. I used to be like, oh, I don't want to show anybody that. But now I'm like, oh, you see the transformation. It doesn't happen overnight. It's about tweaking and adjusting and loving you. It's about getting that perspective and really taking it in and allowing those who don't to walk away. So I think I've honed this in pretty good. Another thing that you want to do is to look at, how do you filter people as they're coming to want to do business with you, collaborate, you know, be a client. That's sometimes really challenging, especially when you're first getting started. And a lot of it is about really showing you. When I went from, you know, just speaking in front of the little groups to radio, right, AM radio, to international radio, to YouTube, that's when it went big. And people are always like, you went from 1 million listeners on internet radio to nobody on YouTube? I'm like, I know, isn't it crazy? But it worked, and it worked like a charm because people saw me and they immediately resonated in or out. So, you know, I created a game on the Public Speakers Association website where people literally walk through all my questions. It's kind of fun because they watch a little video, they answer a question, they see a video of me. Either, yay, you can move on because you're, you know, this is working for you and I think you're going to love PSA, or, no, let's go get you someplace else. But when I show my personality and I show my video, I'm actually helping that filtration part really quickly. I had a conversation with a guy before, and he was like, I don't understand. I don't know. I mean, every time, and I'm used to adjusting because I've got a lot of analytical clients. You know, my husband's very analytical. So I'm used to how to adjust things so that they can kind of see it in a different way. And he just was not getting it. And finally, towards the end of the conversation, he goes, wait! I mean, he screamed it in the phone. I was like, oh my gosh. He's like, can you stop laughing? Which, of course, made me laugh, right? And I'm like, oh, Jim, sorry, this is not going to work. If this doesn't work right now, you are really not going to like my association. So show people who you are. Do not be afraid of them leaving you. You're actually doing them and you a favor. Same thing with clients. The first conversation is, do I even like this person? If I don't like them, right? And I'm not even going on with the conversation about hiring me or being a member or whatever it is, right? And it was funny because I created a game on the Public Speaker Association so that people walk through, and it's a plugin that I created for people. And so now people can actually filter people naturally through their website. So it makes it really fun, and people are really into gamification and taking games and interacting more with people and their website. Plus it's a great tool. So if y'all are interested in going and checking it out, it's simplyattract.com. But thank you for having me on, Jackie, and hopefully that gave y'all some good information about who is part of your life and who isn't, and enjoy both of those people.
Well, we've got one question, Tonya.
Yay!
Cassandra is asking, do you have some suggestions for branding an in-person speech?
So if an in-person speech, so if you're creating your presentation, it should resonate. All the wording that you use, everything that you do should be words you would use. Now, you may have to adjust for the people that you're talking to. Say if you're talking to realtors, you would want to throw in some real estate terms or something. But realistically, the whole feel, the pictures that you're using, everything that you do, including your rules, are going to tell them is you. And because then you're really helping filter out those who aren't going to resonate, now you're really finding people that will want to do business with you. And I want to get across a real quick suggestion too, is when you're at the end of your presentation, I always warn the person who's putting on the event, first of all, I find out if I could do a contest for lead generation, unless I can sell there, but most things are lead gen now. I don't want a standing ovation. And I know that's going to freak a lot of people out. They're like, yeah, I do. I'm like, oh, no, you don't. I want people with their heads down, writing out the little forms I just gave them. Because if they don't want more, if they're not drooling to have more of you, you didn't do anything on stage. Because they need to go further. If you give them everything that they need in 30 minutes or an hour, you actually haven't given them anything. because they should want and crave more of you. And that way you can get them into your newsletters. You can find out who's going to be a client and filter those people. Obviously, the people who aren't going to want your contests are going to filter themselves out. So the people who do filter themselves and fill out the form are going to sit down. They're going to be heads down writing out that form. So get over the whole idea that you want this standing ovation.
Well, you know, in terms of the branding, one of the things that I tend to do generally is, you know, I dress with long, beautiful goddess clothes. And it's because my market is a transformation market, and those people are the people that relate to me. There's a softness in it. We're nurturers. And so that's becomes a really important element of my brand when I'm on stage.
Oh yeah, I have never worn a suit in my life. So why would I suddenly, you know, go and wear a suit to an event? It would totally be not me. So that's what I'm saying is you got to really own who you are. Just like Jackie, when she comes in, she's got these flowy things on, you know, and she's got this certain personality, and it's just inviting to the right people. The other people go away. And that's really what you want to do is you want to actually repel people, for lack of a better word, and then also at the same time attract. That way you're not attacking people, you're actually attracting people.
So tell us a little bit more about the PSA and some of the exciting things you have coming up.
Yay! So Public Speakers with an S Association.com is the website, and it's a membership base. We've got members throughout the world, and it's all about helping you find speaking opportunities. I know Jackie and I really share a lot of those things, and I love what she's doing, but I also do a lot of marketing. So I've got our virtual summits every month that you could be on. They're teleconferences, straight presentation. And then we have a couple interview style things, like TV show. That's great if you're needing to promote something coming up. And then also we've got the world's most fabulous people series that you could be in. So you could use all of that. Plus I also push out your name, what you're speaking about, and who you are to my entire social media realm. So around 50,000 people continue to see you over and over and over again. And then we connected up with Speaker Hub. So you kind of get 2 for 1. You get a premium membership to Speaker Hub along with the Public Speaker Association.
That's very cool. Very cool. So now you have this big event coming up in Las Vegas.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it's going to be amazing. So Jackie was there last year, and I was hoping she's going to be here this year, but no, she's so busy. So it's publicspeakersconference.com. We've got a huge, beautiful lineup, of course, really nice people that are imperfect. And some of the nicest experts in the world will be speaking. And so you're going to really connect with people. Everyone who comes walks out with speaking opportunities. You just can't not walk out with speaking opportunities, just the way we have it formatted, all the networking that we do, along with getting to really learn some really solid information from real people doing real things, which is what I love. So we start June 30th for our VIP networking event that night, and then full day Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So July 1st through the 3rd in Las Vegas at the Golden Nugget. So you can go and jump in on that opportunity right now.
Well, and there's no gamble with this. This is a sure thing. I spent a lot of time in Las Vegas, and this is one of the more fun things to do.
Right, exactly.
So why don't you tell everybody if there are any last things that you want to leave us, any items that they can participate in, or how they can contact you?
Yes. So obviously you can get a hold of me on any of my websites, but, you know, reach out and connect and let's have chat, right? Let's actually talk. Not only do I know a few people, but that's one of the things that I know Jackie does this too, is really encourage people not just to listen, but to actually connect, because that's when amazing things happen. I know for myself, I don't just find out about Jackie and just start following her. I call her up and say, hey, who are you and what can we do together, right? So reach out, and I would love to connect with each one of you. You can Facebook message me. You can get a hold of me on my website, publicspeakersassociation.com. There's a contact us form. You can reach me at Tonya, T-O-N-Y-A, at Tonya, T-O-N-Y-A, Hofmann. And okay, my husband's family doesn't know how to spell their last name right. So H-O-F like Frank, but one of them, M-A-N-N, so NancyNancy.com, one F, two N's.com.
Well, and I have to tell you, Sonia is one of the most wonderful supporters to her members and enthusiasts and partners. She really goes to bat for folks. This lady is really a queen among her peers and is respected and loved by everyone. So I really encourage you to get involved with the PSA and to learn a little bit more and find out how you two can work together to build your platform through the Public Speakers Association.
Yay.
So I'm assuming we're pretty much wrapped up. There's no further questions. So I want to thank you for joining us today and allowing Tonya to really bring the perspective of how you can make your personality your brand as you expand your platform. So thanks everyone for joining us today, and I'm really excited, and we'll be looking forward to having you join us for the SpeakerTunity session number 2. Take care, everyone.
Awesome.